45 years, 0 name changes, new offices, more staff, improved technology to better serve you. Education, services, investments. Think real estate, think Marshall Reddick. Brokerage, property management, private lending, creating financial independence through real estate since 1979.
Today's webinar, folks, is about investing in Austin and all of the wonderful opportunities that we see in the Austin market as realtors and investors and property managers. We get to explore this market day in and day out with amazing agents like Michelle that are our boots on the ground. And I'm going to introduce Michelle here briefly, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the Austin market and some of those opportunities that we're seeing on a day in and day out basis. My name is Chris Carlson. I'm an advisor here with Marshall Reddick. That means I get the pleasure of helping our clients grow their portfolio, and it's something that I really enjoy doing because I get to work with folks that maybe they're just buying their very first investment property and they're kind of struck by analysis paralysis and aren't quite sure what to do. We got to really dig into the motivation and figure out what the best type of asset that they should purchase for their criteria. And then I get to hang out with folks that have been doing this for decades, and it's a really amazing privilege that I have to be here at Marshall Reddick, working with people like Michelle and then all sorts of different folks in our team. I've been licensed for over 10 years. I graduated from the University of Kansas and jumped into real estate pretty quickly after that, after my trials as a chef, as a professional line cook. That didn't work out too well, but I think real estate is a little bit better to me. I've got several hundred transactions under my belt, mostly doing investment sales and leasing up for our clients here in California and other states. I do own out-of-state investment property. In fact, I own real estate for investment purposes in Texas. So really strongly believe what we teach here, which is how to find and secure great deals all across the country and how to make it work for your portfolio. I've closed real estate transactions in multiple states, including Texas and including the city of Austin. I've experienced with 1031, multifamily value add, renovation project management, flipping, and of course, buy and hold for single families and up to 4 units. And I'm a happy mortgage fund investor. We have a great fund product at Marshall Reddick, which we'll talk a little bit about here in just a minute, but it's a really great way to invest some of your cash and liquidity and have a great position where you get a really nice yield. For those of you that are new to Marshall Reddick, we are a one-stop shop for real estate investing. So what that means is we get to provide you with 4 distinct services that we think encompass everything you really are going to need here for real estate. So first, we have our brokerage. So we do about 600 transactions across 5 different states, and we have excellent agents that are focused on investment real estate in Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, California. We've got one of those fantastic agents on our call, Michelle Mendez, that I'll introduce here shortly. And really, once we find a great investment purchase and we've analyzed the deal, we've put in the renovation work, we've leased it up, what comes after that is property management. And I truly believe, as a seasoned investor myself, that none of this works without property management. I have property management for my investment personal properties, and I know that it's not going to work without them, because they're the ones that are enforcing the lease, screening my tenants, dealing with the 24/7 maintenance calls that would distract me from my day-to-day business. And those are some really valuable people that are going to make your investment optimized over many years to come. In addition to that, we're also a private money lender. So we lend money out to folks that are seeking non-owner occupied residential investment loans. So that exact type of person might be a flipper, a developer, a wholesaler, someone that's looking for bridge debt. And they borrow from us and they pay us a nice interest rate, but it's something that's, they're not going to be able to go out into the conventional market with a conventional loan and get that loan. So they got to come to private money lenders like Marshall Reddick. On the flip side of that coin, we have an investment fund. So we raise capital for our fund so that we can then lend that money out to those flippers, and those flippers pay us origination fees, interest rates. over the course of their loan, and then we pool all of that money together and distribute a really nice return to the folks that are investing in our investment fund, our mortgage fund. And annually that yield is around 8.5%, which is a really nice, secure way to put your money into a product that's not necessarily stocks or bonds, and you're diversifying your portfolio. So the investment funds are a really great place to be if you're looking for stable dividends. Like I mentioned, we've got offices in multiple states in fantastic markets for real estate investing, not just here in California, but in the lovely Austin, in Central Texas, San Antonio, New Braunfels. We've got an office in Houston as well. Southwest Florida in Cape Coral, we've got a great team there, and of course Nashville and Clarksville. And none of this works without these people right here. These are our property managers, our marketing experts, our analysts, our accountants, the people that are really hard at work every day, making sure that your money's working for you and that we're keeping your property safe, your tenants safe, and your investment safe. And I mentioned that we're in a few different states, but that's not by accident. We didn't just stumble across Austin and think, well, this seems like a nice place to invest in real estate. So we chose these very selectively with intention and with a great degree of care to make sure that we're taking care of our clients by putting them in places that are going to grow. So what makes a good market? Well, first you got to have excellent employment opportunities. You want to have employers moving to these cities and states, not just over maybe a 1-year period, but over many, many years. We want to see a good track record there. Vacancy rate needs to be low. There needs to be demand for rental housing, and it needs to be a strong economy, in the sense that we don't want to see just one employer dominate the landscape. I always use the analogy of Detroit, where we had auto manufacturing, and when that got offshored, it completely destabilized the city, and it took decades for it to recover. And I think a lot of people would say that it's still in recovery. And we want to be in markets that are tech friendly, that have government jobs and healthcare and universities and all sorts of different employers, so that maybe if one job sector takes a hit, like tech right now, if you all are watching the news, you're seeing probably some layoffs and unemployment creep up a little bit, especially in the tech sector with the rise of AI and artificial intelligence. And some of these firms are starting to shed employees after they hired a whole bunch of folks during COVID. So anywho, we're insulated from that in all of our markets because we're not just reliant on that one particular sector buoying up the entire city. And of course, housing affordability needs to be there. We don't really see that too much in California, but it's certainly in places like Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. In comparison to the national median housing price, all of those markets are either at that level of $400,000 or less. In the case of San Antonio, where I have an investment property, the average median single-family home price is around $240,000, which is 40% less than the median home price. And we want to see landlord-friendly states. We want to bring our investors to places where governments are friendly to them. Once again, California isn't really known for that aspect. A lot of our clients live in California and play in California or from California, but don't necessarily buy a lot of investment real estate out here. A, because of housing affordability, and B, because it's just not landlord-friendly. The laws are changing every single day to make it more and more challenging for landlords to operate in the state of California. And in cities with strong education, we see a lot of white-collar jobs, which are higher income jobs. And those higher income jobs translate to higher rents and folks that are going to buy residential real estate in the future. And that means appreciation. And we want to see the opportunity for appreciation. Appreciation is typically the icing on the cake when you're buying a good investment property, but that's what's really going to drive wealth. So we want to see strong education. And lastly, of course, you want a reliable property manager. You don't want to be investing in a tiny little town of 3,000 people where there's maybe one property manager that dominates the landscape, and they skip town and you're kind of on your own managing your own assets. So invest in relatively larger metro areas where you've got choices of property managers to pick from, and of course, that goes without saying. We offer property management, and we'd love you guys to consider us as your next property manager. I'd love to introduce you guys to my esteemed colleague and good friend, Michelle Mendez. Michelle and I do a lot of business together, and I rely on her expertise for the Austin market, and we're all over Central Texas. And Michelle, I'll let you speak about yourself here and talk a little bit more about the Austin market.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Hi, I'm Michelle. Chris did a very nice job introducing me. Thank you, Chris. He's my partner in crime, and we love helping people, particularly with their investments. I have been a licensed realtor since 2009. Yes, I know. I do not look that old. It's true, though. And I absolutely love it. I am a Texas native, born and raised here. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Texas at Austin. I do have a bachelor's in communications from UT Austin, a master's in educational leadership, and I use that to my main career for the last couple decades was as a teacher, educator, coach, and principal my last 10 years. So I did real estate on the side and then decided I don't want to do this anymore full time with education, and actually worked out well because I was able to help a lot of kiddos and then move full time into real estate. So I too have investment properties. Chris said it really well, we practice what we preach. And so that's a very good thing. I think it also helps us with an understanding from the other side. It's really important that whoever you're working with doesn't just know the real estate side, but we also understand the leasing side. We understand the ownership side, so that we can give you the full picture and the full representation. This says 30 plus sale transactions. I think maybe I have more than that, but that's nice. Thank you. And definitely 100 plus leasing transactions. Absolutely love being part of the investment property team. There it says, like I was talking earlier, over 2 decades as an educator and principal. Loved it, love helping people, which is really why it's a seamless transition into real estate. And we're really blessed to have great employees, but we're even more blessed to have great clients. We were talking earlier, Allison, Paul are on here in our chat room, and she's texting me while we're presenting. And I think that's a really good testament to the fact that we are not just your agents. We are here to make sure that we're friends, that your happiness is our happiness, and we're not just going to sell something to you and then say bye at all, which you can tell because my sweet friends are texting me. So it's a bonus and it's a win-win, and I'm really honored and pleased to be here to help and to serve and to meet all of you.
Michelle, what's that little sign that you did? Was it a devil sign or a longhorn sign?
This is the Longhorns, hook 'em horns. Thank you. And look, if I just do this, that means I love you in sign language. See?
Oh, that's beautiful.
I know.
Jayhawk, they don't have any cool signs or like a weird looking bird, so nothing really interesting there.
I'm doing that. That's not me.
Oh, did I moved the slide here. You got the why Texas, why Central Texas here? All right. Let's take it away.
So we're gonna just jump right into it. And then of course, at the end, if anybody has any questions, we will be happy to answer those for you as well. Why Texas? Why Central Texas? Of course, I'm biased. I love Texas. Texas proud. But there are really important facts and pieces of data that support the love. And some of them are here for you. Texas is the second highest population state in the US. I also did some further research where there were 4 states in the United States of America that were part of 67% of the nation's population growth. 4 states, and Texas is one of them. And as of 2023, Texas had the largest numeric change in the nation, adding almost 500,000 people. So you can see that it's not just us Texans that are like, go Texas, they're coming in the droves. One of the important things I think that Chris pointed out that is really something to focus on when you're looking at an investment property is the landlord friendliness, especially now because we're seeing, you know, epidemics across the nation where the landlord doesn't have as many rights. So the nice thing about Texas is we're a pretty strict state. We have, you know, some good rules and some staunch rules, and one of them is that we are very landlord friendly, very supportive of the landlord. Lowest market default rate through COVID with Marshall Reddick, that's also a big one. I like to focus on this, especially when I'm talking to investors that aren't in Texas. Central Texas, pretty much the vast majority of Texas, but Central Texas, particularly where we are, it says minimal disaster zones. We don't have disasters. It's awesome. There are a couple I love talking to the California investors because they're like, what about the earthquake insurance? What about that? We don't have that. You know, what about this insurance? We don't have that either. And, you know, yes, sometimes if you're in a flood zone, you need flood insurance, but what we have is it'll stick you, prick you, or bite you. That's about it. You know, there's a scorpion or a cactus. But it's very nice because it's not just in regards to, you know, making a little joke about it, but it has everything to in regards to affecting your property. So unless we have like a coastal house, and obviously that would be something to think about, potential coming in from the coast. But for Central Texas, it's pretty safe and secure in regards to that. We also have an incredibly diverse workforce. And not just workforce, but a diverse population. Military, government, tech, like he was saying, medical. We have a ton of young professionals moving to the Austin area. And I'll touch a little bit more on that at another slide. But the diversity, not just in regards to cultural and workforce, but also in the age bracket and the professional demographic. And it really adds into the need of a rental property. So it's when you have a lot of people coming in droves and they're all over the place in regards to employment, professionalism, age, et cetera, that really opens the door to a larger pool of potential tenants.
So you're telling me the only thing I gotta watch is scorpions coming out of my drains and stuff like that? I don't need to worry about
People freak out about scorpions. I'm like, they don't run. You would rather see 10 scorpions than a cockroach any day.
I think I'd rather have an earthquake than a scorpion in my house, but I'll call you when I have a scorpion coming into my property.
You do that. Okay, so we talked about why Central Texas. This is now, okay, well, why Austin? And when I say Austin, I'm talking about Austin proper and of course the surrounding area because it is massive. I love the data and the statistics of Austin. It's just too good, almost too good to be true. Austin is ranked #1 best performing city in the United States. And it shows you that that's even as of 2024. Some of the statistics and data that you can get is really up to 2022, but there are really incredible numbers and statistics that we can see from 24. Some of the others that I pulled for 24, US News and World Report, which is like super renowned, we know that it's the best of the best, just released a report that Austin, Texas is one of the best places to live in the United States for the 2024-2025 year. So that's a current and a future forecast, which is great that we're still getting that. Niche, which we all know is, you know, the younger demographic, which is important too because they're renters, voted Austin, Texas this year as of 2024 as number 18 out of 230 best places to live. So it's a pretty big deal for young professionals and it shows the droves that are coming in. The second bullet there is important, obviously, as an investor, the #1 in 5-year job and wage growth, #4 among largest cities for high tech diversification, which is a big deal as well, like Chris was talking about, and 8 in 5-year high tech GDP growth. this is where we're starting to see the outreach in when we talk about the variety of all of the different types of professionalism and employment and demographics of people, and being able to market on the increase of AI technology. I mean, even so much to the point of Tesla and the ginormous factory that was built, and all of the people that are coming in for that employment is huge. It shows there our growth in wages increased by 73% in the Austin metro area for that little time frame, which is also important. Obviously, better wages, they can pay better rent, right? We got a grade A from Niche as one of the top of the class grades for public school, family living, nightlife, and diversity. I like to talk to my clients and investors a lot about the schools. And Chris and I actually started diving deep into this when we first got together as working as a team, because it really is an important factor when you think about it as an investor. If you can get a tenant in to your property who is understanding the importance of good public education, and you think about the age of those kids, even if they're in middle school, they're not going to want to move from that area because they have those kids in the campus and enrolled, and they need that address and the consistency. And one of the most important things about Austin that a lot of people don't think about is there are over 80,000 government employees just in that Austin area. And they all don't want to live in Austin, can't afford to live in Austin. But the benefit is, if government employees if their children are in the public school system knows, well, we need to really be on our A game. We've got government employees, from the Capitol in Austin on Congress Street. Their kids are in our classroom. So it's going to be a better, highly rated, award-winning public school system, which is a really big deal when you're talking about securing long-term tenants. And of course, nightlife, everybody knows Austin is the place to be for day life and nightlife. And that takes me to that last bullet. We are the live music capital of the world. And Austin city limits just got rated on Willie Nelson Road, #1 place for live music and music venues in Texas and the United States. So we've got a lot.
You're gonna have to battle that one out for that title with the Nashville office for live music capital of the country.
Yeah, that's country music.
That's true.
Music, okay, and that's great, and we love it, and we love Nashville's country music. But I mean, you could see everybody and their brother here. Michael Bublé was just there and had a sellout, and then the week before him was Post Malone. I mean, come on, people, you want to talk about diversity?
I'll skip the Michael Bublé, but I'll be in the next Post Malone concert. There you go.
Okay, there you go. I'll go to the Michael Bublé. It's my age bracket. And then just to add on to that, a few more parts that are important, obviously, to touch on for Austin, the growth of the job market. And the beauty of that is you have more people who are working there, they need somewhere to live. And they're not going to go and invest and buy a $800,000 home in the middle of Austin. They're going to want to live in the surrounding areas of Austin, the rental properties in Austin, the areas around the Buda, the Kyle, all of these New Braunfels. It's such an easy and a beautiful drive. All those people that are working there, they need somewhere to live. And that's the next one, the low cost of living, which is perfect for our rentals, our diverse neighborhoods. You cannot drive through Austin and be in awe and shock where you're on one road and it feels like you're in a farm, and then not but 10 blocks down the road, you've got that picture right there, beautiful, with unbelievable buildings and brand new architecture and skyscrapers. The diversity is incredible. The weather, beautiful. Now, Chris and I did have a little debate earlier. Where is the weather nicer, in California or Texas? And
it's
Chris,
100 degrees.
You win.
And,
you win.
Yeah,
You win.
that's just our hottest week of the year, and you call that Thursday, I think. So
Yeah, that's pretty much every day. Yeah. We've been very lucky this year. Beautiful light summer. Only 5 days over 100. But it does get pretty hot. It does get hot. But we also aren't going to possibly fall into the ocean. So there's, there's pros and cons of everything. We do have beautiful weather. The health and fitness in Austin, it definitely is a way of life. I will say this though, it's not so much of a way of life where if you're not into health and fitness, you're like locked out. I only run if someone's chasing me, literally. But I fit in just fine in Austin. The point is that it is a healthy lifestyle in the point where a lot of people are outdoors. People will walk, people will kayak, they will do. I'm trying to learn that. What's that thing, Chris, where you stand on like the board? It looks like a surfboard, but it's not, and you stand on it.
Like a balancy thing, like a
Yeah, it's
course
like a paddle board or something in the water. And it's unbelievable the opportunities, that you can get out and enjoy life. So it very much is a culture of living your life like a healthy life, but not to the point where like I eat chips and salsa every day, folks. So it's fine. Everybody's welcome. We talked about the live music, unbelievable. And of course, the Texan hospitality. I have people come. I love it when investors and clients come and they say, I'm going to come visit. Alice and Paul, you're next. We've already talked about this. We had a little go around about Mexican food. So they're coming to visit and we're going to have some Mexican food and a challenge. The Texas hospitality, I love it when people come and visit and I watch their face when we walk in somewhere and 2 or 3 people are like, how you doing? How are you? Hi. Oh, nice shirt. And they're like, why are they talking to me? And it's just what we do. We let people in on the freeway. We talk to people. The hospitality is great. So it really helps and aids in, as weird as it sounds, the whole process of purchasing property, investing property, and getting renters, because it's just a friendly experience. So it helps to provide a smooth and seamless transition from the very beginning to the crossing that finish line. Okay.
Oh, yeah, this is the jam right here, because I love myself some data. So I mean, I think this is something to really focus on. When it comes to the median household income, you can see that not only is Texas right around the median, but Austin itself is one of the wealthiest cities in Texas. And in comparison to the United States average, I mean, it's pretty fantastic. So we've got just a growing white collar economy in Texas, not to denigrate blue collar economies, or jobs, but really that's where a lot of this wealth is coming from, is from the universities, from the tech, from the green energy that's being built in Texas. So the per capita income allows for consumer spending, allows for home builders to come in with confidence and build new single family and multifamily properties, knowing that they're going to attract great renters or great buyers, which in turn leads to appreciation as well. Anything to add on that?
Nope, I totally agree.
And then this, of course, we publish a lot of our data. This is the Austin real estate appreciation trend line over the last, I mean, where do we end here? 1998. I think our data even goes back further than that. But there's a lot of green on here and not a whole lot of red, which is pretty essential. If you're going to think about investing in a growing market, find the ones without a lot of red on them. And where you see the red, go to 2009. The house depreciation for single family properties went down 0.64 of 1%. If you go to places like, well, California, good example, we lost maybe 30-40% of the market in depreciation over like a 2-year period. Over year, it's 40%. So 2008, 2009, 2010, we got really wiped out. And Austin was barely touched. And that's just because the strength of the economy, it's not a bubbly market, meaning that it doesn't get out of control with appreciation. It doesn't go up and down in huge swings like some places like Arizona. So when I look at investing in a market, specifically as an out-of-state real estate investor, I look at this. I look at where are the markets most stable and how do these markets react when we do hit a downturn? Do they really tank? And in the case of Austin, the answer is no. You don't even see 2 consecutive years of negative depreciation. So just a very consistent market between 5 and 6% yield over like a 40-year trend line, which is pretty fantastic. It actually mimics California, but with a lot more stability. And this is more your jam right here, Michelle. You know these numbers better than I do.
This is one of my favorite, and it's crazy because we can change it like monthly, add to it. But when you think about these companies and you look at these that are right here, right? And they are moving their corporate offices to Austin. It is a testament to the belief in this is a very good place to be for a multitude of reasons, right? But if you think about, Jeff Bezos, right? And you think about the education in the background, Sam Walton and the family, Oracle, et cetera, and they're doing their research and figuring out this is not just like a cool place to be. They're moving because they know that it is a multifaceted benefit on every single market for them, right? So it is a testament to what we're saying. And then what I always like to say, adding to that, is look at all those people that need somewhere to live. All those people need somewhere to live, and they're not going to all come and buy a house in Austin, especially the millennials. They're not, and the young ones, they're going to come and be like, well, let's go find a cool place to rent. Well, that's what we're here to help you guys do, is we're going to get one and then we're going to rent it, and you have all of this commerce coming in, and it's not just any commerce. These are big players that are doing a multitude of research, right? They know their data, they've said, okay, this is going to be a win-win. We're moving here.
Yeah, I heard one of our agents, he's a very intelligent person, but he said something that I thought was really funny. He said, I may not be a smart person, but I follow what smart people do. And this is what a lot of folks, if you look at the types of companies that are moving out here, there's a lot of brain power behind these companies. They don't just accidentally stumble across Central Texas to move plants, warehouses, facilities, transplant entire communities from the Bay Area into Central Texas, and now have their hubs in Austin, and the surrounding areas. So something to think about, that's for sure.
Smart move, pardon the pun.
And then this is the Austin cheat sheet. This is your slide right here, because you live right down the smack in the middle of Austin. All the different.
Yeah, that's me. He's got his cursor on it. This is a love-hate relationship that I have with this slide, because if you live in Austin and you refer to where you live, and then you look at this, I'm like, that is technically not North Austin. But it's because when you live there, you're figuring out a little bit differently where you live. But this is a very good cheat sheet to make it relative for anybody else that's looking from the outside. So you can see the burnt orange color. Nice job, Christopher, because that's the color of UT Austin, hook 'em horns. That's right. Is center right there. And then you can see like the West, the Hill Country. That is big time luxury. You'll see on the news every now and then about Lakeway. That is like a premier high school. They've won like state, I don't know how many years in a row. I'm out of the womb ready to go win state. And so it's very nice, top school districts, but it is luxury. That's important to remember. So that's the Lakeway area. The top right, the North Austin, very nice. It's got the new Domain luxury shopping center. It's awesome. It's a little bit older inventory for Austin, but older does not mean worse. There's a lot of character, really great neighborhoods up in there. And there actually is quite a bit of renovation, and the high concentration of tech is going to be in that north, according to the map there. And then to the right, the pink, the Bastrop East. This is kind of tricky because it does say it's the most affordable area, but then the next part's important too. It's more manufacturing. Little bit more blue collar. It's also quite far removed from Austin, which is why it's going to be the most affordable area. My favorite, absolutely, were like, because I'm obviously biased. I live there. My nephews live there. It's literally the best part of Austin because it is the other than downtown. It is the total feel of Austin, but you're not paying the downtown prices, and that's South. And South Austin is extremely affordable. And even if you continue to go south, like Buda, that's the sweet spot, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. The beauty of South Austin, in my opinion, is other than it being affordable and it having the Austin feel. If you think about the I-35 corridor, which is right where the tip of that arrow is, right there where Chris is putting his cursor, the I-35 corridor is I call it the bloodline, right? And it runs from San Antonio to Austin and everything in between. So the Kyle, the Buda, the San Marcos, the New Braunfels, which is like my favorite also. And Chris, you compared that to the Bay Area?
You could Bay Area, maybe extrapolate for Southern Californians would be like the equivalent of Austin would be Los Angeles, San Antonio would be San Diego. Similar in proximity, there's a lot of suburban communities in between LA and San Diego, similar to Austin and San Antonio. Like that's the New Braunfels is like the Orange County, like a bedroom community. A lot more commuter to Austin, commuter to San Antonio, and really nice jobs, really nice schools, really nice homes, really nice communities. And then San Antonio is just like San Diego, a ton of military families, military bases galore, and a lot of military tenants. In fact, my house is on the market right now, and in San Antonio, and I've got two military applicants, and I'm super stoked. So,
Great.
yeah, they're great applicants, and you're going to attract a lot of military folks down there.
Go ahead.
No, that's the I-35 corridor right there in a nutshell. Yeah.
Right. And the best part about South Austin, just to finish that, is if you're traveling between Austin and San Antonio for any reason, whether it be for an event or for work or like the bases, like Chris was talking about, in San Antonio or going up to Austin, you're always going to go through South Austin. So it's a huge benefit because you have constant need, right, and traffic, whereas in some of the other areas, you may only go there if you have a destination there. But the beauty of South Austin is all of like South Park Meadows, which is a huge, it used to be just a park for a concert venue. It was like where our original Woodstock or like Lollapalooza was. And now there's just like a billion beautiful new retail, and they still have concerts and culture and skyscrapers and all those things. But South Austin really allows you to still have the feel of Austin without the price of downtown Austin. So it's really a great benefit. That's my favorite, but of course I'm biased.
Oh, this is funny. Yeah, I'll talk about the Los Angeles aspect of this because I am in LA every single day. I was just in Pasadena. I was in central LA downtown yesterday. So man, driving up and down Orange County through LA. And do we have better weather? I think the answer is yes. Do we have a higher cost of living than Austin? Absolutely. I don't know if I would say that it's got all of the culture and luxury I went past our slide, that Austin does, but we've got international presence. We've got just a huge population here, very diverse, and we've got over 3 million people in LA. In Los Angeles County, it's more like 5 million people. And I think Austin shares some similarities to it in certain respects, in that it's kind of, would you say it's like a cultural hub of Texas? Is that kind of what you would equate to?
100%. And people will come in. I mean, we get millions of tourists a year, monthly, and people will come in. Like I just met this lady. She came in from Omaha, Nebraska, and she was like, "Keep Austin weird." So she knew, that's the Austin logo, is Keep Austin Weird. And it's not like weird, like creepy weird. It's just weird, meaning anybody can be anybody, and they're not going to just, conform to some norm, because what is a norm? Your norm may not be my norm. And so it's awesome because she is from Omaha, and she's like, keep Austin weird. And then she was, leaving and going back. So it's definitely a cultural hub, and it's not just for any particular reason. It could be because they're coming here to paddleboard, or they're coming here to watch Willie Nelson and stand 5 feet from him. And yes, he is still alive. Or they're coming here to see the bats come out of the bat cave, which is one of the coolest things in the world. You never know. You never know. So it is definitely a cultural hub. And you win weather, but we win disasters and fun.
That's very true. And this is your alma mater, isn't it?
Yep, my favorite. It is my alma mater, the University of Texas at Austin. It is the only university in Texas where you can say, I went to the University of Texas. And everybody knows it's in Austin. Because there's a lot. There's like University of Texas. I also went to UT El Paso, the University of Texas at El Paso. But you can't say I went to the University of Texas and then somebody think it's El Paso. It's UT is UT.
El Paso doesn't have the same clout as Austin, as what you're saying.
No, but it has better Mexican food, but not the clout. You're right. UT Austin is a huge, huge, huge drive for real estate, believe it or not. My nephews are a perfect example. My brother went to UT, I went to UT, my 2 nephews are at UT. One's going to graduate this year, and they're literally, I helped them, thank goodness. We're trying to find a rental property, and it was like pulling teeth to find something that was, reasonable, that was close enough to the university, that wasn't gross, and you're paying an astronomical amount. So being able to show them, look, you can drive literally 11 minutes, right, which is great, out of the area and have this awesome rental property. There are 53,000 students as of last year. Okay, it's unbelievable. It is a highly ranked university. We are now tier 1 for a research institute in the state of Texas and in the United States. Ranked number 9 right there for U.S. public schools. You can see the graduate program, and it's not just about the students either. The people that come to Austin for the games, it's like I want to go back to grad school and write another thesis on the subculture of people who are UT fans that never went to UT. It's fantastic. They will come in for a game because it's an experience. The stadium is beautiful. The city is beautiful. There are people that will tailgate for miles away from the university and don't even go in to the game because they're all having fun, Texas style, just hanging out.
When you say game, you don't mean soccer, right?
No, Chris. Unless you're football, like Spanish, football. Although they do have an excellent soccer team. And it is a very diverse university, and also we have to think about the faculty and staff. There are a lot of people there too that are looking for places to live.
And all those folks are going to be graduating, maybe 50,000 students. You have 15 or 12,000 people graduating. They're going to stay in the area. They're going to get good jobs. They're going to be your renters, and in the future they're going to be home buyers, and home buyers bring up appreciation. I say it a lot, but that's what we got to focus on long term if we're going to grow wealth in real estate. And speaking of the future, Austin has a pretty bright one here over the next at least 10 years. There's so much cool stuff. I mean, one of the big things that drew my eye is this 800,000 square foot San Marcos film studio, which is only a half an hour away from Austin. We've got a lot of businesses fleeing LA because it's been so difficult for them to get permits to build studios, to get permits to film anywhere. And so they're going into places that are a lot more business friendly, and that includes Texas. And they built a studio center that's got 800,000 square feet, and it cost over $250 million. It's got hundreds of jobs, and a lot of films are going to be coming out of here. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and obviously awesome. You know more about the other aspects here, Michelle.
It is just piggybacking on what you're saying on that San Marcos Film Studio, the Vibe Park, which is what's pictured right there. That's in Kyle, and that's the first city, no, Buda. Kyle, right south of Austin. And what's important to note about this is, again, kind of what I was saying is, we see, like, whoever the agent was, which, by the way, that's a really funny comment. I may not be smart, but I follow what smart people do. That's actually smart. That shows that that person is smart. But it's a very good point. So it speaks to what we were talking about earlier, when all of these major companies are investing billions, like with a B, of dollars, and see the potential and the possibility, and they're coming in and they're bringing all of these retail, right? Like the Buy Park, it's massive, and it has retail, it has restaurants, it has an amphitheater, a multifamily living. There's going to be like a duplex thing in there, a condominium thing, gathering centers, concert venue. It's just incredible. So when you think about all of the draw of the people that are coming there, but also there's employees, right? All those people for that $1 billion complex and the 800 square foot film studio, they all are going to need somewhere to live. Every one of them. And it's fantastic because it just continues to show the belief in Austin and the growth of the area.
Definitely. And speaking of, I mean, there's certainly opportunities to be had in the marketplace right now. We source a lot of our opportunities because we've been in these areas for a long time. We have really great, intelligent real estate agents like Michelle that are connected with the community and connected with builders. And we build really great relationships with these developers out there, and some of which are fantastic investment opportunities. So I would say an interesting component right now in the market is, right now it's sort of flat. There's more inventory online. And one of the reasons is because a lot of developers were able to get low interest rate loans, lock in land at low interest rates, lock in development projects at low interest rates. And a lot of that inventory for housing came online over the last 12 months, 18 months or so. Well, what's happened in the last 18 months? Interest rates have gone through the roof, and it's caused affordability to be a little bit more challenging for first-time home buyers, which is what a lot of this product is. And so there's more inventory, and there's developers that are looking to offload their inventory, which means they're offering concessions, they're offering price drops, which means there's opportunity. Because as an investor, you're not looking at necessarily what's happening today to dictate the rest of your investment, path. What you're looking at is, how is the market going to look in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? And everything that we just discussed, I mean, Austin has not only been a great market, it's going to remain a great market. And if there's opportunity in the water now, it's time to seize it. So one of these communities is in Buda, Texas, which is just outside of Austin. This is about the first city just south of Austin. Is that right, Michelle?
Right.
Okay, so it's about 15-20 minute drive into Austin. I think it's about 20 minutes when I mapped it to University of Texas, Austin. Go Longhorns, is that right? So it's a 20-minute drive to the university, and it's a duplex community that this developer is offering. And the builder is 210 Development, and they're a moderately sized builder. They're not one of these massive developers that we can't control and we can't build relationships with, like Lennar and DR Horton, that just throws out product all across the nation. These guys are local to Central Texas, and we have a good relationship with them. And they build great properties, not just for primary home buyers, but also for investors. Now, why does it make it a good investment property for investors? Well, because they're going to be in areas that attract great tenants, like Buda, Texas, just 20 minutes outside of Austin. They're also building duplex communities. So instead of just buying a single family home, now you can get two doors. You can get two doors at a much less, per door cost than it would be for just two single family homes to go buy those independently. And what we really like is that renters love these properties because they're pretty modern. We don't have, I wish we could, maybe we can, if someone's interested in taking a look at the interior pictures of these homes, just write it in the chat, and maybe we can schedule a separate meeting after the call. But if you look at the interior, they're really well designed. Michelle, I feel like you run this community and know every floor plan. So maybe you can speak to the layout and to what the amenities are of the area.
This community is like, I literally have goosebumps, and it's like months I've been, we kicked it open and kicked off the opening in May 1st, and it still gets me super excited. And it's really because it's a win-win all the way around for the investor, for the builder, for me, for the tenants. It ends up being in there, which is very, very difficult to find, right? Where everything is perfect and falls into place, particularly with the deals that we're running right now, the promos. But I think that what the foundation for it that makes it so amazing is what you said, Chris, is our relationship with 210. And they listen to us, right? They listen to us. And so if, you know, over the years, I personally have requested that there be outlets on every side of the kitchen island. And guess what is in Buda? On every single kitchen island, there's outlets all around. But when you walk into those, and actually it's before that, when you drive into this community, just the feel that you have, every one of those duplexes is on a full acre, which is unheard of to go into any kind of multifamily environment and not feel like you're right on top of each other. There's full acre lots. All of the properties, the main floor, 12-foot ceilings, you know, the large extended cabinets, Moen faucets, granite countertops, all of these things are included, period. That's where we start, right? And so they rent themselves. I have been a leasing agent for properties where I have like super staged the property, you know, to bells and whistles and put cookie smell and all kinds of like fun stuff because it doesn't rent itself, and it will take a particular renter. These rent themselves. It's impossible to walk in and be like, I don't like, there's nothing. And you're right, Chris, the fact that it mapping wise, I think it says it's 18 to 22 miles to downtown Austin. But I will give you an example. That's my community. That's where my office is. That's where I'm, you know, I'm everywhere, but that is my community. And when I go to visit my nephews, it's 11 miles and it only takes me 18 minutes, and they're in South Austin. Extremely convenient for anybody who wants to be able to commute. And that's what we're seeing in our renters. And we have investors that are buying them. And like you said, it's 2 doors. They're beautiful. They rent themselves. And then we have these wonderful tenants, and they are not subpar tenants because this is a very nice part of town. Buda, period, is really nice. It's very quaint. You know, it's very much country living, but you've got still the HEB, which for all you people on this webinar, you need to message me later so I can let you know about HEB. That is our grocery store, which is the most amazing grocery store on the planet. People should move to Texas just for HEB. Anyway,
you guys are obsessed with that grocery store. It's crazy.
Oh my God. Well, you need to come so I can show you. I'm taking Alice.
Yeah, I can't wait to go get myself into that HEB next time I'm in Texas.
Oh yeah, and I tortillas in the HEB. So you have the benefits of, you know, you feel like you're in the hill country, right? You're not right on top of people. It's a very relaxed way of life, very friendly, but you're not in the sticks. You're from the city and from hospitals and from commerce and from, you know, employment and venues and events. And it's just an incredible, we're just blessed. It's an incredible opportunity. And these are the ones, which is why I'm so excited you're highlighting this one.
Awesome. I am a numbers guy. I'm very focused on, you know, not just like what's the vibe and what's, you know, what's in demand and what looks good. I mean, it needs to look good in real life. It needs to look good on pictures. It needs to look good on paper. And so I want to go over the numbers because Marshall Reddick really prides itself, I think, in transparency and due diligence. We're analyzing deals every day, not just for our clients, but also when we lend money out. We're lending tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars out per year, and we only can yield good profits if we know how to underwrite deals. So let's underwrite this one real quick while we got a few minutes on, and look at this. I mean, like I said, very transparent with the data. We show you guys the list price, down payment, pretty typical right now to do 25 to 30% down, especially on a duplex, to make these cash flow. Initial repair costs are going to be pretty limited. Now, if this was like maybe a home that needed some work, and you're working with Michelle, Michelle would input the estimated repair costs to get the home rent ready. So if it needs a new kitchen or if it needs new flooring, maybe it's 5-10 grand. These are pretty much turnkey, which is why we like new construction with this developer. They build them with all the bells and whistles so that we can turn around and rent them. And in fact, some of these are currently tenant occupied where Michelle placed the tenant, meaning Michelle was the leasing agent, placed the tenant, and now they're on the market for sale. So you don't have a vacancy cost, and you know that Michelle placed the tenant, not some inexperienced agent, and Marshall Reddick screened them. So that's really a valuable piece of information. We input all the closing costs, gross rents. These are rents that we're getting right now, today, on these units. Mortgage payment. This has 3.99% interest rate. That is basically unheard of. Yeah, unheard of, impossible to get in the standard market unless you have a relationship with Marshall Reddick that has a relationship with these builders. The reason is, like I mentioned, there's more inventory right now than there has been in a while. And the builders are like, we want to close out these communities, we're going to move on to our next project, and we want to sell. And so instead of lowering the price, it's a lot more impactful for you as the buyer, as the investor, to have a much lower interest rate than 7%, which is our going rate right now for investment product loans. At 3.99%, these will cash flow, which is pretty fantastic. Of course, you got to input all of your fixed expenses, like your taxes and your insurance, and of course, property management. You can always self-manage. I don't recommend it. I've done it. It's terrible. But if you want to be brave, you can put 0 here and self-manage it. Or you could be really good friends with Michelle and I and get your first free year of property management if you work with us. So sometimes we can negotiate that with the builder, and that can be a 0 on your first year. We're very transparent. Let's keep that at 8 so that you put that into your cash flow analysis. This is going to have a small HOA because we want the community to be kept cleaned and well maintained and uniform, so it continues to attract tenants and continues to attract primary home buyers. One thing that is really important to understand is a few years ago, even as little as 2, 3, 4 years ago, it was almost impossible to buy a multifamily property with 5 or 10% down. Okay, now, due to recent changes with Fannie and the federal government, and now primary home buyers are allowed to buy a multifamily property with as little as 5% down, which is fantastic. Because what that means for you as the investor long-term, more and more buyers for primary residences are going to be entering into the market seeking this type of investment, which is going to cause your appreciation to go up. So in this community right now, Michelle is selling properties to primary home buyers, not just investors. So right. We're going to have a higher appreciation rate on a duplex than you could have previously gotten 5 or 10 years ago. Utilities generally paid for by the tenant, and maybe some light landscaping or 0 landscaping. Of course, you want to also input the eventuality of maintenance. It's new construction with a good builder, with a home warranty or with a building warranty that's up to 10 years for structural. So you're not going to have a ton of maintenance your first couple of years, but we want to put in at least 5% of your income should be probably withheld for the eventuality of maintenance 5 or 10 years down the line. Vacancy, Michelle's filling these up. If the unit is already rented out, you're not going to have any vacancy your first year, but eventually you guys are going to hit vacancy, right? A tenant's going to move out. You're going to have to get the home rent ready, maybe do a little cleaning, maybe do some steam cleaning, maybe paint the house. I just went through all of this. It's a little costly, right? But it happens. It's the cost of being a landlord. So it's going to be vacant for a few weeks. That's the vacancy rate, okay? It's going to happen to you eventually. Set aside 5% of your income, 7% of your income for something like this. Leasing fee, that's the cost of paying your realtor to rent out the unit. So we even input that. But at the end of the day, what does that mean for you guys? It means a little bit of cash flow, and it means massive ROI because of the appreciation of Austin and the appreciation of duplexes. Now, the appreciation rate that we include in our pro formas isn't something that we pulled out of thin air. Remember that appreciation sheet that I pulled up earlier? That's based off of like 30 plus years of data. That's just the average of all that data compiled together. That's it. We're not looking at what happened the last 3 years because of the COVID boom and saying, oh yeah, we think, you know, real estate prices in Austin are going to continue to go up 15% a year. No, very conservative with about a 5% appreciation growth every year. So that's it in a nutshell. But if you guys want to explore these opportunities with us, Michelle and I will sit down and really like show you the plat map and the community in way greater detail. And if you want a free market data packet that's going to distill some of this information in greater detail, we'll be happy to send you a market data packet. We do one of these every year for every single market that we invest in or help our clients buy in, whether that's Austin or San Antonio or, you know, Florida, doesn't matter. We do these every year with our analysts and look at how is the landscape changing? How many more employers are moving into the market? Is this a good place to invest still? Why should we continue to invest here? It's about 30 pages, and for me, I love that kind of stuff. I really read through it and digest it. And lastly, this is the Reddick Property Rating ebook. This is a evergreen book. It's really defines, for me at least, how I buy property, which is on a rating scale of, you know, luxury to D class. Every property falls in a property class, whether that's luxury A, B, C, or D, and that's based on the median single family home price in a given metropolitan area. Every metropolitan area has a different single family home price. LA's is $1 million, and Austin's is probably $500,000, and San Antonio's is about $250,000. So depending on where you're at on that scale for your local metropolitan area, your property rating class is going to be higher. So if you got a $400,000 house in San Antonio, probably going to be in a pretty good neighborhood. It's probably going to have really good school systems, low crime, and going to, you know, attract white collar tenants, all that kind of good stuff. But it's going to be more, I would say, appreciation heavy and less cash flow heavy. So if you want more details on how we rate our properties, feel free to ask us for a copy of that after this webinar. And once again, we do property management, so we provide really transparent fees. We can get you all this information. This is just a little snapshot of our property management fee structure in Central Texas, in the Austin area, and we have like the best team. How often do you talk to your property managers in Austin, in Texas?
Me?
Yeah, like probably every day.
Every day. We don't mess around.
Yeah, every day. So, I mean, the agents work hand in hand with the property management team. Like none of it works without the two collaborating, the agents and the property management. And this is how we're going to make you guys money for years and years to come, is by managing your assets, by enforcing your leases, by raising the rent, by keeping the tenants accountable. And we're doing nothing but growing in these areas. So we manage almost 2,000 units. We're close to 2,000, closer to 2,000 than 1,500 units in the Central Texas region. So this is a map of all the properties that we manage. And you can connect with us in all the ways that you can in social media. Instagram, don't go on my Instagram, please. It's terrible and I never post. But LinkedIn, probably it's a more appropriate place to look at my profile. And then Yelp, look at our reviews, look at our Google reviews, and you guys will really determine that we know what we're talking about, and talk, you know, walk the walk and talk the talk. If you are interested in learning more about how to buy an investment property, whether you're super experienced, this is your first foray, or you just want to learn some tricks and some tidbits and some resources, please don't hesitate to schedule a consultation with me as an advisor. We're going to set goals with you, evaluate your options, look at your time frame, set criteria. Do you want to buy a multifamily or a single family? Do you want to flip? Do you want to wholesale? What are you trying to do? And we're going to figure out which market you're best suited for. Maybe that's not Austin. Maybe it's San Antonio. And I'm going to introduce you to all the cool players, the key players, but also the cool players, and that includes Michelle. So we'll introduce you to Michelle and get you a consultation with her as well, so you can work with a fantastic real estate agent to buy your first or just your next investment property. And that's it. Michelle, anything to add?
No, I was just going to say that wheel is like I refer to Chris as the wizard, because he is. The wizard, and that wheel when he's talking is a perfect example, because the most important thing that we want our clients and our investors and our friends, because that's the same thing, to understand is we're not going to ever walk this journey with you without educating you and sometimes it's like brutal honesty. That's what, happens. I tell Chris, people either really like me or they really don't. And it all comes down to the fact that there's nobody, well, at least Chris and I won't speak for anybody else, but you're going to get the honest truth, sometimes the brutal truth, but at the end of the day, it's for you. It's the best is for you, so that we can do the right thing, make the right decisions, and then move forward so that no matter what, there's a benefit. That's kind of why, that's why I refer to Chris as the wizard, because he's great at all that. He's going to take you through every single step so that there is no doubt and you are comfortable. And he will tell you, you know what, I know you really like Austin, but it may be that the better place for us to go is New Braunfels or San Antonio or Tennessee. There are options. Nobody's going to ever say, well, we just want you to do this for us. It's not about us. It's about you. We just have fun while we're doing it. That's the benefit. And then we have happy clients. The only other thing that I would add in is when I get this excited about, like when you put the Buda, the Performa up, it is definitely speaks volumes, because in the beginning when I had to learn to do Performa, I was like, I don't like doing this because it's a lot of math and a lot of numbers. And when I was a teacher, I was an English teacher, and even as a principal, when I would go and observe my teachers to give them their annual ratings, I even broke out in hives going into the math classrooms even as a principal. So it's great because Chris will do all the numbers and the data, and I'm better at it now. But I see that Performa and I get so excited because the data doesn't lie. And I will tell people that all the time. You can talk to, Joe Blow at whatever builder, people lie. The data doesn't. And so it's exciting because, like I said earlier, it's a win-win. And we just want to be able to help you and give you information. Even like Chris said, if you're not ready yet, but you want to educate yourself and get ready to be ready, we're here for that too.
100%. So after we end the webinar, you guys are going to get a little questionnaire. Please, take 5 minutes to fill that out. Any feedback that you guys can give us, please let us know. We're always happy to hear your thoughts on how we can improve, honestly. And of course, if you want to schedule a consultation, you got my contact information. I don't know why Michelle's contact information isn't on there, but I'll put you in touch with her.
Let's go through the wizard first.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out with us tonight, and we're here from you when you do this.
Thanks to Alex and Paul for letting us use you guys as multiple examples. We appreciate you.
Definitely. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.